Power of the dark side.
Welcome to Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Manzark.
Now you're losing your power.
Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Ranzark, your safe space to discuss Star Wars and music. So, the title of today is that the Acolyte has gone massive leaks. Let's talk about that in a few, but first, let's get our first song of the day.
Now you're losing your power. you're losing your power.
Hello. Welcome to the Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Ranzark. So, turns out that we keep getting more Acolyte leaks over and over and over and over. And this keeps getting more and more and more interesting, if you ask me. So, turns out that there's a real surprising Sith versus Jedi struggle. And for those of you listening, you can tell me on the comments down below your thoughts, your opinions on all these Acolyte leaks. Do you think they're real? Are there just people making fuss on what they think it's going to happen? I do find them really interesting, in my opinion. And if you have anything to say, you can leave it on the chat down below, and I'll be glad and happy to respond live here on the show. So, like our universe, the Star Wars television universe is ever expanding. From the humble beginnings laid out by animated series like Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, that world has expanded to including prestige series like The Mandalorian and the upcoming Book of Boba Fett. So, next up, the Disney Plus will travel back in time to explore the last days of the High Republic with the Leslie Headland-run series, The Acolyte. So it turns out that there's going to be the Sith Empire, which is basically like the Sith Alliance is basically like the Galactic Empire, so on and so forth. But there's already an actress that has been selected for this because the whole show was built around her. Amandel Steinberg. She's been chosen, the actress from the Hunger Games, which that was a fun series to watch however long it lasted. I was like early in my college years when I started to see those. That was a long time ago, So there's a lot of leaks. We have now the Darth Paul, which they're assuming is Darth Plagueis. So we're gonna have Darth Plagueis around this series in some shape or form, and I'm really quite intrigued because in a way, Darth Plagueis comes way further back from when the Acolyte is being set in, and knowing that supposedly there's a speculation that Darth Plagueis might be on the Acolyte means that we have so much in our hands. Are we gonna actually see Darth Plagueis as a ghost, the same way that we saw Darth Sidious on The Last Jedi, or are we gonna actually see Darth Plagueis like in flashbacks or something, and have that kind of stuff? I'm really quite mind boggled right now on how can we have Darth Plagueis around these parts. I have no idea. Honestly, no idea whatsoever. But I do know that if we do get Darth Plagueis, it's gonna bring a lot to the table, because we all want to know the wise tale of Darth Plagueis on live action. We all do. I'm one of those included on the discussion. Star Wars has talked a lot about so many Sith Lords and dark side users that have never seen the day of light outside of the expanded universe. And I would like to see more expanded universe characters around these parts. So, the Acolyte, it's a paradox, and the first name of this protagonist is reportedly Aura, which will be played by Steinberg from the Hunger Games. It leaked, released by Illuminati. While this leak isn't confirmed and should thus be taken as a grain of salt, it's also the first information we've heard regarding the series, and it's revealed a surprising amount. Here's where things get heavy. So, the paradox is especially interesting, though working titles historically don't have much to do with the context of this story, like how Return of the Jedi was referred to as Blue Harvest. More modern working titles have been Easter eggs or in jokes. For example, The Mandalorian Season 1 was referred to as Huckleberry due to the similarities between wayward protagonist and the wandering runaway Huckleberry Finn. So, with the working title Paradox, it is safe to assume there will be some sort of contradiction faced by the characters within the series. So in the Acolyte series, it's supposedly gonna be Sith, like heavy Sith centric, and we're gonna have a dark side user that's gonna be trained, and we we're gonna see like new faces, new fresh faces on the dark side, and that expands the lore a bit more. Sorry about that. Um, it expands the lore a bit more, and I can't wait to see how this Acolyte series will portray. It's speculated to be released on October or something like that. Um, so the Acolyte, hopefully, will be about a character struggling between light side tendencies and dark side aspirations. A clever subversion of Anakin's struggle between the two. In my opinion, I think Anakin wasn't really struggling between the two, in a way. I think more Anakin was seeing more possibilities with the dark side, and hence why he went to the dark side. Because the dark side was giving him the things he wanted. The light side wasn't. He wanted to be a Grand Master, and he never got the chance to be a Grand Master. And that's why he accepts the ways of Palpatine, the way of the dark side. So I don't think it's much of a struggle, more like, wait, these guys are giving me what I want. But in reality, if we analyze the story of Anakin turning to Darth Vader, if we analyze that story is not a story about, I got what I wanted. In fact, if you ask me, Darth Vader, aka Anakin, lost it all. He literally lost it all. He lost his limbs. He lost his girlfriend or wife. He lost everything. He never got in touch with Luke and Leia when they were growing up. So it's one of those things, you know. So do you think, for those of you in the chat right now, do you think the massive Acolyte leaks are correct? Do you think that makes sense? Do you think we're gonna have more information, and do you think when they officially release more information out of the Acolyte, do you think they're gonna connect with what the leaks are saying? Because I'm really stoked if we're gonna see Darth Plagueis on live action. I'm really stoked. And for those of you in the chat, let me know. Let me know if you feel like Darth Plagueis is gonna be awesome shown in live action. And also, if you're there, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the stream if you're watching on YouTube. But if you're watching on Twitch, make sure to host and share around with people you think that might enjoy some Star Wars content while having a music playlist played in between. But if you guys tend to chat with me more often, there will be more chances I'll talk more than play the music. And I'll just leave the music in the background as foreground, and give you guys more chit-chat conversations, because I do like conversating with all of you right here, right now. So, don't be afraid to talk about all the things you want to discuss from Star Wars. It doesn't have to be something wow. It doesn't have to be like some deep dive hardcore expanded universe information that we probably don't know, like the Imperial Knights or some shit like that. It just has to be, you know, a casual conversation. You know, the background of the show is the cantina. So make sure you think you're sitting down in the cantina, you grab the drink, you're listening to the aliens play their music, and then you're just talking to your friend about some stuff that have happened within the universe, in the galaxy far, far away. whether it is from the High Republic, the Rebellion, the Old Republic, the First Order, the Rebel Alliance, doesn't matter. The Galactic Empire, doesn't matter what you want to talk about. Just leave it there in the chat, and I'll be glad to respond. And like I said, the more you guys chat, the more I'll talk. And there'll be less musical segments, and I'll just leave the music in the background. So continuing here a little bit, if this leak is to be believed, the Star Wars fans needn't to worry. This will be simply a female lead series. The Acolyte is on path to depict a side for the Force, whether never seen before, focusing on those who seek to be successful as a Sith without falling to their temptations. So when I first heard about the Acolyte, I heard that the creators said that they wanted the show to portray characters that haven't seen the day of light, and or characters that are fresh to the story. Like, for example, like how we had Jedi Fallen Order and we had Cal Kestis. Cal Kestis for me was freshly new out of the blue, and that really made something real awesome for everything related to the era after the First Order. I mean, the Order 66 happened, And speaking of that, I was thinking when I saw that, before we say something here, and I make something wrong here. For those of you that haven't played Jedi Fallen Order or haven't watched the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
This is a spoiler warning.
Well, I didn't see that coming.
If you don't like spoilers, make sure to tune out.
Please hang up and try again.
But if you know what we're talking about, make sure to leave me a message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or tune into my next live show at twitch.tv/AndrewVanZark and leave me a message there on the chat. So let's get started and listen at your own risk.
Alright, so when I watched the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and I saw the part when Obi-Wan was escaping, saving Princess Leia from the troopers, and from the torture that Reva was going to do to her, I was like, wow, this reminds me so much of the scenes in Jedi Fallen Order when you first see Darth Vader on the underwater base, And I was like, since this reminds me of Jedi Fallen Order, how come they didn't add Cal Kestis at least half a scene or something? I would have loved to have seen Cal Kestis, or at least foreshadowed Cal Kestis around this. But I've been hearing around and reading articles around the internet where we could have a possibility of a Cal Kestis live-action show. That would be something I would be really stoked, because I did enjoy Jedi Fallen Order. I want to play Jedi Survivor when it comes out. Same with KOTOR. But anyways, the thing is that having Cal Kestis would be a nice addition, because his story is pretty interesting. It's fairly adventurous, heroic, and there's a lot to tell from Cal Kestis, Cal Kestis has a nice crew of his own, and the places he visits, it just makes for a nice story. At least I think so. So, in the meantime, let's go listen to some more music here on the Andrew Van Zark show called Star Wars Chatter. So make sure to like, subscribe, click the bell to get notified so you can know every time I go live or every time I upload a new video, whether it's a short, whether it is a live, or whether it is a full-fledged episode where I do this same thing but pre-recorded and upload that little section. So if you have any comments or anything you want to say while we listen to the music, type it in and we can talk about it, whether it is something random from Star Wars or exactly about Acolyte, about the leaks. There's a lot to talk about those leaks, and there's a lot to discuss from them. So don't miss out. You gotta show your participation, because I want you to be part of the show. Your message will be featured on screen, and not just that, but I'll be able to, enhance and discuss your thoughts and opinions. So let's go. And we're gonna listen to Whisper Fever from my album Strobe.
Now you're losing your power.
For those of you joining in the chat, make sure to leave your comments down below. And don't be afraid to let me know, what do you think of this? You know, there's been Acolyte leaks on Star Wars. So, the thing is that, how do I put this together? You know, Darth Plagueis might be around, you know, and that brings a lot to the table. So, we might not see Palpatine himself because he's not on the High Republic era, but we might see his master, you know, Darth Plagueis. There are so many things we can point out from this leak that maybe many of you might find it like a weird thing to think of, or maybe you might be wondering yourself, why are we thinking of these leaks as something accurate when we all know that leaks are just leaks? They never become real most of the time. There's more chances of it not happening than happening. But if we look at Twitter here for a Reddit here for a second, which I know Reddit is not the most accurate place to look for information, but it does help having people there around that discuss the same topics that you're trying to look for. So Paul is a Sith, but doesn't seem like one. Super rich arm dealer and deals weapons to Ara's village, so they can't find off the raiders. White male humans. So Feather Code, name for his planet, is some to a bunch of huge bugs-like monsters. It's possibly they're some sort of hive mind, like the Genosian. They live in a huge mountain covered with holes. There's a scene in which Ares and Miri's, her sister, take a boat down the stream. They seem a culture they see a creature, so they hurry back in the village. So in episode 2, there seems to be alien raiders attacking again, but this time they have weapons sold to them by Paul. So when she gets back to the village, the Jedi's finally arrive, but they have been subdued by Paul. Paul then forces Ara to kill them and take their lightsabers. Melody is major character in the first 2 episodes. She's a Padawan. When Ara's sister is taken, they form a friendship. In episode 2, she is a fully trained Jedi Knight. Paul captures her and forces her to kill Ara. You know, for me, it sounds really cool. The plots they have leaked and everything that has been thrown out on the table. So I wonder, do you think these are gonna be the way that it goes? Do you think we're gonna actually see Darth Plagueis? Come on. Who's not interested on that? I am pretty interested on that. I would love to see Darth Plagueis on live action. Trust me, I would love this a lot. So, some comments here on the Reddit post are saying that sounds cool. Paul's a rich arms dealer and secret Sith Lord. I like that. Actually, it reminds me of Palpatine being a politician and senator, but also a secret Sith Lord as well. I think it's fun for lots of these rich noble elites in Star Wars to actually be secret Sith Lords or disciples. Yes, indeed. Indeed, it is interesting, you know. That what Tommy Tom said on Reddit. So, Acolyte is extremely Sith-centric, you know? And I do like the ideas that are being presented here. I do like the ideas. And if you think that the ideas are awesome here on the Acolyte speculations and leaks, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be glad to respond to your thoughts, you know? But in my opinion, you know, we've heard Palpatine say so many times, do you want to know the story of the Plagueis the Wise? You know? That is you know, something that we've always wanted to know the story. And sure, we can probably find many concluded stories within the expanded universe, but that's not canon. I would love a canon version of Darth Plagueis. Trust me, I would love a canon version. It's something that I've been looking forward to since I've heard Palpatine say that phrase. So we do have also artwork that has been shown about the Acolyte. So we see a dual lightsaber dark side user with a robe with only the eyes. That is one of the posters we've seen around, and then we've also seen around the Aura poster. Aura has been shown to us, and I don't know. It just brings a lot to the table. I'm still trying to connect in my own little head. How does all of these Star Wars stories connect to Acolyte? You know, I have a feeling that this show, if for reals we're gonna have Dark Plagueis, it's gonna be really dark. It's gonna be really dark. It's probably gonna be one of the darkest in terms of, you know, atmosphere we've seen, you know. And we've seen dark Star Wars, you know, on Expand the Universe. So why not have a canon version of dark, gloomy Star Wars, you know? Like Her of the Empire was a nice example of that. And also, for those of you in the chat, now that I mentioned Her of the Empire, where could I find more Star Wars audiobooks? You know, and when I say audiobooks, I'm not saying just a narration of the book and that's it. No, I mean like full-fledged audio dramas, like the ones they did for Empires for the original trilogy, like Empire Strikes Back, New Hope, and all that kind of stuff. Or when you see some of those audiobooks that have actually voice actors. I like those types of audiobooks, the one that have voice actors. Then instead of just reading the book, you get the book voice acted. And I like a lot of the voice acting phenomenon a little bit more than any other media when it comes to daily consumption, because I like the idea of imagining what's happening, or trying to imagine the character if I haven't seen that character before, because it's a book that we haven't seen on live action or animation. So if you know any other place, I'm pretty sure that you might say Audible is a place where I could find more audiobooks of Star Wars. But I've been listening to some of those on Apple Podcast, and randomly I do get to find those on Spotify, but it's really difficult on Spotify. There's more on Apple Podcast. But yeah, if I have to subscribe to Audible, then I might as well have to. I might as well have to. But I already have so many subscriptions. So back to the topic of Acolyte. In Star Wars universe refers to the Acolyte to a member of the Sith who has begun training under the tutelage of a Sith Lord. So that's how we know what the word Acolyte means. Acolyte it's like the equivalent of a Padawan. And if that's the case, that we're gonna probably have something like similar to Force Unleashed, where Darth Vader was the master of the apprentice, and that kind of story should be shown a bit more. Yeah. But anyways, let's continue listening to some more music here on the Star Wars Chatter. And if you have anything else to say, anything else to comment about, let me know, and I'll be glad to respond to it. And we're gonna listen to Smoothing Grooves by Gaming and Streaming. Alright, so welcome to the Star Wars Chatter, your safe space to discuss Star Wars. And turns out that Star Wars Mark Hamill strikes back at Empire reshoots. There's rumors. This was written by Caroline Young. So it turns out that even years after Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back was released, fans cannot stop analyzing the 1980s film and discuss theories about it online. A few fans pointed out the differences between release sets, photos, and still from the film. You know, especially they had questions about the medical bay scene at the end of the film, and Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill for that case, has responded. So let's find out what he said. So an argument arose after fans of episode 5 saw inconsistencies between images from the film and could not agree whether or not reshoots were done after principal photography had wrapped. Decided the only way to find out for sure was to consult Luke Skywalker himself, aka Mark Hamill, and ask about the rumored reshoots. So they asked him, and Mark Hamill, who starred in the original Star Wars trilogy, swiftly replied to the fan Twitter thread, setting the record straight about reshoots on the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back once and for all. So Mark Hamill tweeted, "Films 4 months after that we wrapped principal photography on ESB, it wasn't a reshoot, it was an added scene. Concerned about the downbeat ending and thorough defeat of the protagonist, they wanted to add an uplifting moment of hope and rejuvenation to the reassured the audience." So while fan theories about the differences between principal photography and what was seen in the film were particularly correct, this was not due to any mistakes made during the original shoot. Director Ivan Kershner and famed Star Wars producer George Lucas must have thought the original ending was too dour for a Star Wars film. And Star Wars team added an additional scene to give a scene of rejuvenation. This was in anticipation for Return of the Jedi, which rounded up the trilogy in 1983. I guess you could say the ending was a new hope for Star Wars fans in need of a happy ending. For those who needed a refresher, you can watch the scene requested below. So The Empire Strikes Back and the Star Wars actor also shared photos from The Empire Strikes Back in the Twitter response. I included a cute behind-the-scenes candid with his co-star and fellow Skywalker, Carrie Fisher. The actress portrayed the iconic Princess Leia in the original trilogy and followed sequels until Fisher's passing in 2016, which for many of us Star Wars fans, Carrie Fisher dying was devastating. And for her family as well. Rest in peace. I love that after all these years, Mark Hamill is still taking time to talk to the fans and reflect on his experience filming the original Star Wars trilogy. He can often be found sharing stories, including this one, about the trippiest Star Wars experience and behind-the-scenes photos that fans of the franchise love on his Twitter account. With all the announcements that Star Wars content streaming on Disney Plus in the near future, hopefully there is some way he can return to the franchise. And as so, he has returned to the franchise in the Mandoverse. That's the first time we saw him return as, full-fledged and on his full glory, And because we did see him on the sequel trilogy, but fans love Luke Skywalker when it comes to Disney era way more from the Mandoverse and over. That last scene on the Mandalorian season 1 was just delicious, if you ask me. So I can't wait for season 3 of Mandalorian, now that we're talking about the Mandalorian a little bit, because I like that Western feel that Star Wars has been giving with the Mandoverse and the bounty hunters and whatnot, So for those of you on the chat, make sure to leave yourself a comment here. And what do you think of reshoots with The Empire Strikes Back and all those scenes that are iconic and refreshing to us? It's one of those things, it's one of those things that we tend to love and enjoy as Star Wars fans, discussing, Easter eggs, discussing deep dives into a character, and many of those things related to that matter. It brings a lot to the table. It makes us feel like we're a community. This is not just this Star Wars franchise. It's more than a show. It's more than a series, than cartoons, than comics, video games. It's more of that. It's the sense of community behind everyone involved in Star Wars, and not just involved in Star Wars, but the fans themselves are part of a huge, humongous community that we all love to enjoy and express ourselves. Whether you want to be a toxic fan or you want to be a regular, non-casual, non-toxic fan. I dwell around the non-toxic fans. I tend to see things as they are instead of nitpicking based on my own nostalgia. Because those fans that are toxic, let's be honest, they're just talking out of nostalgia. They're not really talking out of the reality, the facts that are proven and given on the screen. Some things are bad, some things are perfect. When you do a show, let's put myself in an example. I do a radio show almost every day. Do you think every radio show I do is going to be amazing and I'm going to have the best conversation with the chat or the best conversation with myself and talk to you and express you the best way to show the news, the articles of Star Wars and show you the best music on time? No. There's going to be flops. There's going to be days where I'm going to have 3 seconds of silence and that shouldn't have happened. There's going to be times where I'll have a brain fart and I'll just want to move on to the next thing, It's one of those things, It's one of those things that we have to acknowledge. Even though they do something awesome doesn't mean it's going to be awesome every time, I've watched and consumed so much media from video games, comics, YouTube, Twitch, written form media like journalism. And I can totally say that that's all this stuff is just a continuous evolution where when sometimes you're gonna pump, sometimes you're gonna get pumped, So just enjoy what it is and just criticize it as is, and don't criticize it by nostalgia. I think that criticizing something through nostalgia doesn't work that well. At least I think it doesn't. So anyway, let's just listen to some music here on the Andrew Manzarek show called Star Wars Chatter. And let's go. This is the Star Wars Chatter where you can discuss Star Wars and music safely. And we're going to listen to Love by Kaija Streams. Let's go.
Watching time ticking back at me. We've got lost in this galaxy, on a cloud where our hearts are free. Stuck in this odyssey, watching time ticking back at me. We've got lost in this galaxy, on a cloud where our hearts are free. Stuck in this odyssey, watching time ticking back at me. We've got lost in this galaxy, on a cloud where our hearts are free. Wasting my time with you, but I like it too.
Now you're listening with power.
Hello, hello, welcome to the Star Wars Chatter. For those of you joining in right now, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it around. And if you're watching on Twitch, or better said, listening on Twitch, then make sure to host and share with people you think that might enjoy some Star Wars discussion and music. So let's get running. Um, I try to share around one of my YouTube links to a Star Wars to group, and I got declined. It is what it is, it is what it is. Um, it's just that I heard that throwing your links to groups that are similar to your content makes a lot of sense. But I rarely do that because I know that people don't like on groups to be sharing links. I don't know how people get links shared on those kind of stuff. I try not to do that often because I don't want to annoy people with the links and whatnot. I think the same thing happens to me when I share a link on Reddit. It gets declined. I don't know why. I don't know how other people can do it because I search on the group and there's people sending links. There's people talking about the topics and whatnot, but it is what it is. It is what it is. If you all have a place where you share YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcast links, let me know. Like where I can share my music and where I can share my podcast episodes, because it's a crying shame. It's a crying shame not being able to share around all the Star Wars information and music that I want to share. it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. So, these D23 Expo panels will reveal the future of Marvel, Star Wars, Disney parks, and more. So, Disney's own fan event, the D23 Expo, makes its return to the Anaheim Convention Center in September with packed slates of direct from the Mouse House news about the franchise, including Marvel and Star Wars, parks, and of course, merchandising. So this kicks off Friday, September 9, with a look at the upcoming Disney Animation Studios, Pixar, and live-action releases. In that, the later category, we're hoping for releases of The Little Mermaid and Snow White. But at the same time, we are expecting Lucasfilms and the 20th Century Studios Fair. Give us a praise sequel, please. Sunday, Disney Parks will give us a glimpse at the expanded cinematic world at its locations, with Tron Light Cycle Run opening at Walt Disney World. Hopefully, an update on that Avengers Campus Quinjet e-ticket ride, and more Star Wars immersive experiences by land, sea, and space. D23 Expo tickets are already sold out, but IO9 will be on the ground to bring the latest right from the presentations. Check out our curated schedule highlights below. So, if you are interested on knowing what's coming up for Star Wars, when it comes to the Disney parks and all that, make sure to stay tuned on either my radio show, Star Wars Chatter, or anyone around these parts. But in the meantime, we're going to listen to one more song, and then we're going to end the show right there. So we're going to listen to Celestial Voices. Let's go. It's one of my singles. And I have a new single coming out. Make sure to stay tuned for that. August 2022. August 15, 2022. I'll repeat that again. August 15, 2022. It's gonna be an awesome song, and it's called After Hours. It's a nice chill house, and just great for the enjoyment of being relaxed and chill. So let's get it. Celestial Voices, one of my singles. Thank you all for listening to the Star Wars Chatter hosted by Andrew Van Zark. If you want to follow me on every major music platform as Andrew Van Zark to listen to my music, make sure to do so. If you want to catch this show live, you can either follow me on Twitch as Andrew Van Zark or follow and subscribe and share my YouTube channel, Star Wars Chatter, or also check out my YouTube channel, Andrew Van Zark, to get viewing all my drumming and music videos. So let's get it. I'll catch you on the flip side. Adios, amigos. And for those of you on Twitch, I'm gonna raid No Hit Jerome. So let's get it.